So we go from a global issue to what could become a major local issue for a New York cab that you try to hail. Imagine trying to hail a cab with your smartphone and not having to stand on the street and doing what we all normally do. Well, there's been discussion at the Taxi and Limousine Commission, the TLC, about the possible use of an application that would allow New Yorkers to hail cabs from their smartphones. Now, one of the apps being considered is called a Hailo cab. And the Taxi and Limousine Commission is still in the talking stages over the smartphone app. But it was launched in London and Dublin, and is potentially going to be used in Toronto, Chicago, and Boston as well. It's the brainchild of some of London's black taxi drivers, and one of the creators, well, two of them are joining us live in studio. We have Russell Hall and Gary, what's your last name?
Jackson.
Gary Jackson, who are both from Stepney in London.
East London.
East London. I'm from North London, and so we had a moment of East North London rivalry, but it's okay. I'm not mad at you. You can't be as good as North London, but nobody can. It's okay. So I'm holding this smartphone app in my hand. I can imagine New Yorkers are like, wow, this would be amazing. Explain how it came to be in London.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, New York City. Basically, it was free taxi drivers. We was complaining about issues that we couldn't, that taxi drivers couldn't get work. That was losing lots of work,
right?
To other forms of transport. You've lived in London yourself, and you know how difficult it is to get a taxi.
Yeah.
So back in 2009, we sat together. Terry's not here today. Terry's one of the other founders, Terry Runham. And instead of just talking about it in coffee shops, we decided to actively do something. So we ended up building a website called Taxi Light, which was mildly successful, but we knew with the advent of technology, especially with smartphones, that something else was needed. So then we met up with our three co-founders, Jay Bregman, a native New Yorker, Ron Ziegler from Boston,
right,
and Casper Woolley. And we put our heads together. They had the technology, and we had the initial idea to get taxis on the app. And then, you know, off we went. So
wow.
In a space of about 6 months, we built an app. The driver's got a separate app to the passenger one.
Right.
Basically, you can just 2 taps on your smartphone. You can get well, in London anyway, a black cab to your door.
Wow, that's amazing. So Gary, how are you finding it working? Are you really seeing a major use of it, and what are the customers saying?
Yeah, the customers loving it. Instead of walking out of the pub or the office to get a taxi and take a chance, they can now book it before they come. They get a free run-in and 5 minutes free waiting time. So they're never paying anything more than the meter fare. So it's virtually walk out of where you are, get in a taxi, get to the end and pay nothing for the credit card as well.
Wow. You know, when it rains, that's just going to be genius. Because you can never get a cab when it rains. And I mean, whether you're in London with the black cabs, because the minute the rain starts, everyone's trying to get a cab. So the idea that you could just call one and then stay where you are until the cab comes to pick you up, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been extremely successful in London. We've had 500,000 downloads on the App Store and Google Play.
Right.
Over 150,000 have converted those into accounts. Out of the 23,000 London taxi drivers, we've got 7,000 of them all registered up.
Wow.
And it's launched in Dublin.
Yeah.
And obviously it's something that, you know, people, as you said, like worldwide could get involved with.
And so we know it's been in Chicago and Boston. It's potentially going to be used in Toronto as well. How are the talks going here in New York? Because there's a whole relationship between New York yellow cabs and the passengers that can be contentious sometimes, for real.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a team here led by Jay Bregman and Jack McCambridge, and those guys are really working hard to sort of forge a good relationship. It's something that the taxi drivers in New York could certainly benefit from.
Right.
Because if you get a job out to Brooklyn or you know, Queens, then they've got to come back to Manhattan to find another job or go straight back to the airport. With Hailo, it's a communication tool for the driver, so you can let each other know where the major traffic problems are, and you can also let each other know where the major, events are happening. You know, when people are coming out theatres and ball games and stuff. So we've built not just an app to get work; it's an app that it's an essential tool for a driver.
So it's become a two-way communication scenario that helps both of us. How are you seeing it change your business in London, Gary?
One is we're obviously getting a lot more work. we also designed the app so that when we're not giving you jobs, we want to keep you happy. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the traffic alerts, the burst alerts. So a lot of drivers are getting jobs, which means that then they start using black cabs more. People be the same over here. Instead of using the cars out of town, they can now use yellow cabs.
Wow, wow. And so I can imagine people are saying, okay, when could they start this? Could they start this now? Because it's really a challenge. And then people, knowing where to get cabs. There's always a whole scenario here, being able to get a cab, especially if you're a person of color, because there's a whole scenario of trying to get a cab late at night. If you're a black man trying to get a cab late at night, that's a whole drama in and of itself. And so the app, it means you can avoid those kinds of scenarios because you're just calling for it.
Another benefit is for the driver anyway, is that if from any passenger, which any colour, they would download their credit card.
Right.
As a passenger like yourself, you download your credit card, so the driver would always have the safety fact of, even if you're not going to run because we've got your card, so you're not going to run off. So there's that safety aspect as well, and there's all that privacy and data protection that the passengers and the drivers have got. At least we know that if you run from a cab, which I know you're not, especially in your high heels, but if you did do...
You haven't seen me run, and I do run in high heels, let me just say.
Okay, but at least the driver wouldn't be out of pocket. So there's another safety aspect as well. And especially, I will say about London, there is a big safety issue, especially, London taxi drivers do 130, 140 million trips per year. And everybody knows what they get with a London cab driver, and there's that safety aspect. So you can let young girls can now safely, just 2 taps of their app and get a cab home, with a London taxi. So there's no reason why they can't do it here. And as I said before, it doesn't matter what colour you are, it's you're going to get a cab because your card is stored.
And so, it sounds like it's all been plain sailing. Have there been any particular obstacles, things to overcome, things you've had to kind of sort out, glitches that you didn't necessarily expect?
Yeah, I think when we first started, unless there's work going through the system, you're always going to struggle to get drivers engaged. Mm-hmm. But before we launched in London, we had 3 months of no jobs going through. So all the drivers using the benefits, you can create a logbook of your journeys and the traffic and the ranks. Credit cards here is used, but in London, not many people use credit card. So now we're giving something back to the customers. So we had them engaged for quite a long while before any jobs started coming through, and they embraced it and they loved it.
So how's it looking that in terms of New York picking up on this? It feels like it's going global. It's almost an inevitable, and it's a matter of when, not if, really.
Yeah, I think with London, we was first with technology. We didn't embrace it as much as we should have, and then all of a sudden this come along, and now drivers who have never had a smartphone have gone out and bought themselves smartphones, and they always come into the office and go, "Oh, I can't use a smartphone, it's too technology, I'm a technophobe." Now they're all using it, and they're all accepting jobs, they're all using the stuff on the app to help their day better.
Wow, that's pretty extraordinary. Any complaints? I know there have been some complaints.
Only the complaints from the passengers that they're actually sending the drivers now into our office in London saying, so if a driver picked someone up and the passenger say, "You're on Hailo," and the driver says no, and they said, "Well, why aren't you on it?" It's a no-brainer for a driver. Right. So then the drivers come into our office and then sign up. But we take the drivers, right, as Gary was pointing out. These guys are coming in. The average cab driver, you've had experience yourself. They know everything, but they don't know everything, so to speak. But they want to get involved in technology, and now, they're going out buying smartphones and they're getting themselves enrolled and they're up and running straight away. And even those guys, some of the guys have, I've met drivers, I spoke to drivers personally that says, "I don't do technology." And then 3-4 weeks later, they're saying, "This is absolutely fantastic," and it's the way forward. It's the way forward, the way people get cabs.
Yeah.
And whichever city, New Yorkers land in, hopefully there's going to be a Hailo cab there waiting for them.
It's interesting because you think it is not just that it's the way forward, that it's such an obvious idea. You think, wow, why didn't anybody think of this earlier?
I think it was more to do with the smartphone. It come along at
having the
time.
application at
so
the
that's the whole thing. If we had this technology 20 years ago, I'm sure someone would have done it there. Can I answer your complaint?
Yes, please do.
Which is really good.
This may take a minute, we've only got 3.
Yeah, okay, so on the App Store, if you're on the App Store, we have around 1,500-1,600 reviews.
Right.
And I think we might have 4 negatives, which I'm sure have come from our rivals. One complaint we do get is from customers who say it annoys them now because they use taxis too much and it's costing them too much money.
Oh, wow. So that's not bad for you.
It's not bad for us, but obviously not good for them.
So you're seeing a major increase in your workload?
Yeah. I mean, when we first started, you can see your stats on your phone of how much you're earning and the percentage of person on board.
Right.
And it's gone up from 45%, and now drivers are at 70, 80%.
Wow.
So it works out to like a 40, 50% pay rise for every driver, yeah.
Wow. Then it's definitely only a matter of time, because what works in terms of technology in one city, I mean, it's only a matter of time before it lands here. And so, you're both definitely clearly sold. Did you have any reservations in the beginning at all in terms of how you were going to be able to use it, how you're going to be able to manage it? Because of course, with black taxis, different than New York taxis, black taxi drivers know where they're going. They don't ask you, the passenger, to tell them where they're going. So any reservations at all as we close?
None
None.
whatsoever. It's just been a great success. So hopefully it will come to New York City and be a success here as well. We're just waiting to let you enjoy.
Okay, let yous enjoy. That's how you know you're from Stepney, East London.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Manchester.
Russell Hall and Gary Jackson, two London black cab drivers, talking about the Hailo cab. This is a special app that enables you to just order a cab from where you are, and it may well be coming to New York. It's already in London, could be in Toronto, could be in Chicago, could be in Boston, could be right here in New York.
Can I just say hailoapp.com?
Hailoapp.com. Hailo, hailoapp.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it from us this morning. Coming up, it's Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman. Thank you to the entire Wake Up Call team. That's Sharon Louise Harbour, executive producer, Ife Dante, our engineer, Samori Benjamin, who did sports, Al Jazeera English. Thank you to Tony Ryan, who did our sound this morning. Stay with us. You can listen to any part of this show again on WBAI.org, the archive. But stay with us. Your Peace and Justice Radio, the 1 year anniversary of Occupy Wall Street coverage all day.